Where'd he come from? Where'd you come from? What are you doing here? Canis lupus. Vulpus vulpus. I don't think he speaks English or Latin. Pensez-vous que l'hiver sera rude? I'm asking if he thinks we're in for a hard winter. He doesn't seem to know. I have a phobia of wolves. What a beautiful creature. Wish him luck, boys.
Luck to you.
Good luck.
Good luck out there. We are human, but what does that mean? We're all striving to do great big things, live up to the expectations of those who came before us, and in some way, leave our own legacy behind us. It's the daily struggles we face that makes being human so complex. But is life really supposed to be that complicated? It's a bit of an existential thought, and the answer may vary from person to person. But I believe that the best stories force us to confront the truths of life as well as our place within it. This is exactly what director Wes Anderson achieved in his 2009 animated film, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Sure, Fantastic Mr. Fox is a film about talking animals, yet at its core, it asks possibly the most human questions of all. Who are we? What makes us special? And how do we come to terms with the complexities of being human when that very same humanity is contrasted with our innate animalistic desires? As times change and generations progress, the notion of discovering our own self-individuality is something that will never change. In my opinion, this is what makes the story of Mr. Fox so relatable, timeless, and without a doubt, one of my favorite movies ever made. It dares to ask, why a fox? The theme of coming to terms with our own identity and in return accepting your place in the world is at the heart of Mr. Fox's journey. At the start of the story, Mr. Fox's identity is wrongfully based on what he perceives is a fox's purpose, which is as simple as courting danger, hunting prey, and outsmarting predators. From the very first scene, living a life this way only ends in one way: a meaningless death. Thus, Mr. Fox promises to change, but it's more so out of commitment to Mrs. Fox and their unborn child, rather than self-actualization. A couple Fox years later, Mr. Fox finds himself struggling to come to terms with the domestic lifestyle he's leading, and the complexities that come with those responsibilities, as it contradicts the simplicity of being a wild animal. This conflict thrives in the film's fictional landscape, as the characters in the story are quite literally animals. Yet they have very human thoughts, anxieties, and desires. Mr. Fox wears a suit, sits at a dinner table, and even has a sophisticated demeanor. But when he eats his food, it's ravenous. The characters are capable of thought-provoking conversations, but the arguments are as derivative as snarls and growls. Mr. Fox's midlife crisis isn't stereotypically due to unfulfilled expectations, rather somewhat of a meta crossroads of being human, an animal, and what that really means about his identity. What does it mean to be a fox with humanity, and is Mr. Fox even living up to those expectations? This obsession with being the quote-unquote fantastic Mr. Fox is Mr. Fox's quintessential character flaw. As a result, he uses being a wild animal as an excuse to be negligent to those around him. Best exemplified through his son Ash, who has aspirations of living up to his father's reputation as a way to prove his own self-worth. He is very much a reflection of his father, struggling with identity and his own individuality. Mr. Fox's negligence to the animals around him and their talents will have dire consequences later on in the story.
Consequences.
With three farmers, Bogus Bunsen Bean seeming mighty enticing, Mr. Fox ignores Badger's advice and succumbs back into his greed, robbing each one with style and not taking into account the consequences of these actions. And he does so under the excuse that it's his purpose as a fox. And of course, the bill comes due when Bogus Bunsen Bean team up to kill Mr. Fox, his family, and his community. The farmers flat out destroy their homes, forcing the entire community to take refuge on the ground with no food, water, or permanent shelter. It's only in the sewers where Mr. Fox must face his obsession with being a fantastic Mr. Fox. He says he's a wild animal, and Mrs. Fox responds that he's also a husband and a father. Mr. Fox has used his nature to excuse his greed and selfish behavior throughout the film, but now that's no longer good enough. In order to survive the relentless hunting from the farmers, Mr. Fox must accept his duality, that of being man and the responsibilities he has to his family, as well as Fox, and the beauty that comes with being different. It's within this realization that allows Mr. Fox to not only discover his own individuality, but the unique attributes of those around him. Each animal has true natures and pure talents that makes them fantastic, and in order for the community to succeed, all it takes is for everyone to embrace who they are. This revelation is key in the final conflict, as everyone plays a key role in beating Bogus Bunsen Bean, as well as rebuilding their village to be better than ever. Of course, talking about Fantastic Mr. Fox, I can't help but discuss two scenes that stand out to me. The rat's death and the infamous wolf scene. These two scenes not only encapsulate Mr. Fox's journey, but have also left a profound impression on me. Whenever I watch this film, I can't help but get emotional at these two scenes, and they always make me reflect on my own life. Wes Anderson has stated that he had to fight to get this scene in the movie, which is baffling because it's easily one of the best scenes in movies. You could watch this scene in isolation from the rest of the film and still feel its impact. There's a reason why I started this video with this specific clip. I mean, come on, it's cinema. And the reason for that is how it not only exemplifies the entire film, but how it speaks to the human condition and the existential questions of purpose we pressure ourselves with. It's both beautifully humbling and a bit haunting. As Wes Anderson expressed, the black wolf is intended to be a metaphor for Mr. Fox's internal shadow, and is a representation of the wild. Mr. Fox may be an animal, but he isn't a wild animal like the wolf. He wears clothes, speaks multiple languages, rides a motorcycle, and leads a domestic lifestyle, whereas the wolf is just characterized as pure nature. Through appearances alone, the contrast between Mr. Fox and the wild wolf are made abundantly clear. This only reinforces Mr. Fox's acceptance of his identity. Yes, he's a fox, but at the end of the day, there's a Mr. in front of his name. Let's be honest, this scene and Mr. Fox's journey is a reflection of us. We're a sophisticated species far from being wild animals, but at the same time, we're still animals. Our complexity has helped us achieve wonderful, awe-inspiring feats and craft such meaningful relationships. But we're also left to grapple with that very same complexity. We're left to question our identities, our self-worth, and our purpose. Our nature is truly beautiful, but at the same time, it could be a bit melancholy. With all of this talk about purpose and what it means to be a fox, I do propose one answer the film gives us. It's all in Rat's death. Rat is an antagonist throughout the film, acting as a reflection of what Mr. Fox could become if he continued down this path of greed. Very early on, Mr. Fox questions, how can a fox be happy if he doesn't have a chicken between his teeth? Yet again exemplifying how he wrongfully associates instinct with purpose, and how he uses it as an excuse to do selfish things. In the same vein, Rat's purpose in life is motivated by drinking cider no matter who he has to hurt. In an attempt to kidnap Ash for the farmers, Rat finds himself in a battle against Mr. Fox. By this point, Mr. Fox is coming to terms with who and what he is. Where Rat is fighting to maintain cider, Mr. Fox is fighting for something greater, his family. And as Rat dies, Mr. Fox says,
Redemption? Sure. But in the end, he's just another dead rat in the garbage pail behind a Chinese restaurant.
Rat died for nothing. His death had no significance, and that's purely because his life was motivated by greed. Meanwhile, Mr. Fox grows a greater appreciation for his friends and family. It's that sense of community that gives Mr. Fox purpose, as he ends the film celebrating with those closest to him and hoping for their survival. For all of the complexities life asks, it's the little things like friends, family, and the moments we share together that make it all worthwhile. And isn't that a bit fantastic?
What the fuck say?